Hey guys, welcome back. So for this part of the tutorial, I do really quickly want to go over how to navigate your way around of how to select maps and things like that, okay? Because some people don't even know how to navigate through this, and I don't blame them because Epic changed this many months ago where it was simpler, and then they tried to organize it, and I honestly am not a fan of how they did it. But anyway, right here where it says ranked racing, just select that. Now you got options. So ranked racing, that is just your racing for ranked. You're grinding through the races. The more wins you get, the more your rank seems to go up over time, all the way up to Unreal and whatnot. Okay, so that's just for ranked. Casual racing, it basically puts you with a random set of players on a random map. It runs pretty much just like ranked racing, except casual racing is just completely more randomized and with just a random set of players, and it does not affect your rank. Speedrun, very similar to casual racing, but it is just speedrun specific. It's just one speedrun is just one lap races, and this queues you into random maps with other players if they are queuing for the same thing. But this one is less popular, so most of the time you're going to end up being stuck by yourself. Not so much with other players. This thing featured track. I guess this is just a random map that they put here just to select. I can't remember if this thing's changed or not. I don't really mess with that. In-game tutorial, learning the ropes. So with the basics I told you, you may not even need this at all, honestly. But if you are that new to the game, just go ahead and just do the in-game tutorial just to kind of just see that you did it. Maybe you'll get a little more rundown where you're going through the process of the tutorial. It's very short. It's not long, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. So you get to a certain point of it, it has you do the basics, tells you what to do. You just got to follow the instructions, what it says to do, and then it asks you if you want to continue. Just go ahead and continue and just finish out the rest of it because it's so plain basic that it doesn't really give you that much information. It's just very basic. But anyway, so yeah, going back to where we were at. Okay. So now, when you want to select an actual map individually for yourself, you go down to where it says Browse Tracks. You select this. Now, this is where you get this whole roster of stuff. Don't bother with the new and things like that because this new is just like by Epic, the newest maps, I guess, by Epic, but they haven't made any new maps for many months. So just skip all that. The ones that you want to worry about are the tabs that say Racing right here, or speedrun, okay? Or down here, speedrun as an example, okay? But in the racing tab, community tracks, that's just people that have made maps or something like that. Those are not the ones you really want to deal with unless you're just playing a random fun map. But if you really want to do this for getting ranked, you need to stick with the novice, the advanced, and the expert selection of maps. So novice, these are the easier maps. Advanced, kind of like the intermediate, and then the expert ones, they got a lot more going on in the maps, okay? These are the maps that can end up in ranked, okay? Any one of these in the racing. When you select racing here, these are 3-lap races, okay? For these map selections, and they are very specific to ranked. And ranked can grab any one of these based on whatever selection has based on the ranks you're going through, all right? So keep that in mind. Now, speedrun, very similar. It has similar stuff. Skip the top community. Just go to novice, advanced, and expert, okay? Now, speedrun, when it first came out, had maps that were only specific to speedrun only and not all the other maps that you would normally see in ranked. In a very short time, that actually changed. Now they have the speedrun specific maps that are not in ranked, and they have the actual maps that are in ranked that you can practice on, which I loved it when they came out with that. So, uh, but the ones to steer away from, kind of like an example, Arrow is just a speedrun specific. Pleasant Detour is a speedrun specific. It's a different structure map, but none of these end up in ranked. So if you're playing for ranked and want to practice ranked, make sure you kind of cross-reference the ones that are in the racing tab, and then go back and find the one you want, and then go back down to speedrun so you can do one lap race practice. So because you can keep resetting your race in the middle of it. That if it doesn't go well, you can reset it really quick by pressing the vehicle, or not the vehicle, the speedrun reset button. Okay. So you just make sure that you know which map you want through the selection of the novice, advanced, and expert. Once you've selected a map, for example, let's see, I'll just grab what, Seafoam Cove. Great. So I select it. There, I got that. Now, before you hit play, make sure when you go in here, make sure that whatever you select, it doesn't say public. There's a lot of times where this, I don't know if it was a bug, but it would default to public a lot of times. So when it's at public, see in the upper right where it says privacy, you press that button, it changes it public or private. Public means it'll just grab any number of players that are trying to race with the public of players out there that are selecting the same map. This game isn't that popular today, so you're not going to see a lot of that. And a lot of times if you get somebody with you, they're just going to leave because they were trying to do private or they didn't even want to race with anybody. So anyway, so what you do is just like privacy, just select private and then press the back button in the bottom right. See in the bottom right it says back, select back. So that way you don't accidentally select one of these other options, okay? Go back, there you go. Now when you look in this text, it says speedrun, it says Seafoam Cove, speedrun private. Now that that's set, you can queue up for the race. So always check that and make sure that the privacy is set correctly. And sometimes it defaults back to public when you change a different map. So always just double check it. Because sometimes this will say private in the privacy, but then it'll say public in this text, and that means it's a bug, and then it won't queue you for the race, and it'll keep failing. So then you have to go back in and redo it, okay? Or just reselect the privacy. All right, so that concludes this part with how to navigate your way around selecting maps. Now we are going to go on to the actual gameplay again, all right?